welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to complete our journey through the Psycho franchise. But before we get into it, do me a favor. Like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I greatly would appreciate that. Also, for the movie we're going to discuss today, I will post in the description below an Amazon affiliate link if you wish to purchase this film, because Scream Factory came out with a nice Blu-ray on this film. Also, I'm going to put a link down below for my TeePublic page. You can check on that out if you're interested. And today we're going to get into the Psycho 1998 remake. Yes, I only have ever seen this once in the theaters that year when it was released. So when I watched this for this review, this was only the second time I've ever seen this movie. This was directed by Gus Van Sant. He was the it guy at the time. Pretty much could make whatever he wanted, and he chose to do this. Don't know why, but we'll get into it. This film came out December 4th of 1998. It's rated R. It's an hour and 45 minutes long. Had a budget of $60 million, which seems insane to me. Why? There's no reason for this movie to cost that much money. And upon release, it didn't do very well at all. It made 21 in America and 37 worldwide, so this was a bomb. And in this film, it has a stacked cast of very well-known actors, even at that time. Vince Vaughn came in to play Norman Bates. Anne Heche plays Marion Crane. Julianne Moore plays Lila Crane. Viggo Mortensen plays Sam Loomis. We got William H. Macy as Arbogast, the private detective. We got Robert Forster in this movie as Dr. Simon. And then we also got Rita Wilson. We got James Remar. We got James LaGrosse, and even Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers makes an appearance in this film. Now, pretty much if you've seen the original film, there's not much for me to go over plot-wise here. This is pretty much the same film with a few differences, which we will talk about. So I'm not really getting into it other than Marion Crane steals $400,000 this time instead of $40,000 from the original. They adjusted for inflation to make it make sense here. She finds her way to the Bates Motel. She gets killed by Norman, and then Lila and Sam are trying to find her. Arbogast comes in. Arbogast gets killed, and then we have that finale where we find Mrs. Bates in the fruit cellar, all decimated, the corpse, and Norman comes in to kill Lila. Sam restrains him, and then we get that ending where the doctor, which is played by Robert Forster here, comes in and explains Norman's condition and what's wrong with him, and we have our ending. And that's basically the Psycho remake. As a matter of fact, this remake is so close to the original that Joseph Stefano got writing credit. Like, they didn't change the script. As a matter of fact, there was a story that Robert Forster got the script for this film because they wanted him to read it. And when he got it and he started reading it, he called up the production and said, "Look, I think you sent me the script for the 1960 Psycho." Gus Van Sant called him and said, "No, we're using the exact same script." That is what they did here. And the only real differences here between the original, besides the color and the blood and all that, there's obviously more gore here, and it's in color, is when Norman's watching Marion Crane get a shower, he's pleasuring himself as he's watching her. Now, they don't show him doing it, but there's no doubt what he's doing in that moment. And then when he kills her, they intercut with these different images while he's slashing her in the shower, which is an odd choice. It makes no sense to me. I don't like it at all, but they do it. And really, honestly, those are really the two minor differences in this film. It's pretty much Hitchcock's film again. Some of the shots are straight out of Hitchcock's movie, and Gus Van Sant even said he was trying to recreate some of Hitchcock's shots. And I remember when I saw this back in '98 when it ended, I was just like, I turned to the girl I took to the movies that night, which was a girl I was dating at the time, and I said, I don't know what the point of that was. I really don't. And rewatching it for the first time since '98, I didn't hate it as much. When I saw it in '98, I really despised this film. I thought, what a waste of money, waste of talent, waste of a production to do this all over again when Hitchcock already did this in the 60s and did it better. Even the cast here, there's a great cast here. And Vince Vaughn, I like him as an actor, but Anthony Perkins was way better as Norman Bates. Also in the movie, the other difference they make is the house looks different. It doesn't look like the house from the original film. Other than that, those are pretty much the only three differences here. I mean, even some of the shots are exact shots from Hitchcock's movie. So you got to ask yourself, why waste $60 million on this? And why did Universal agree to give them $60 million to do this? There's no reason for this movie to cost $60 million. This is a movie they could have easily, especially back in '98, they could have did for 25. Easily, 25 probably. And you would have got the same result, a pointless remake of a classic film. But I got to be honest, rewatching it, it's a great transfer under from Scream Factory, and there's some great special features. I didn't hate it as much. It's still pointless. I don't get why they even went down the road to do it. I know we've had a ton of remakes over the years, and especially in the last since that came out, remakes even got bigger after '98 with Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, you can name them all. But the Amityville Horror, and some of them I do like. Some of them it's like, oh, whatever. Like the Fog remake's awful, but some of them were okay. Some were pretty good. But this one, at the end of the day, when you're that close to the original film, what's the point here? I don't know. I didn't hate it as much though. Definitely didn't hate it as much. But yeah, Joseph Stefano got writing credit because it's pretty much the same script except for a little additions here and there. They used Howard Berman's score, but Danny Elfman and another gentleman came in and did some arrangements on the film. So they did work on the music a little bit. This film was shot in 6 weeks. Again, they used the Universal backlot for some of it. Some of it they shot in Phoenix. The new house, the different house, because the house definitely looks different. Now, on the inside, it kind of looks very similar, but on the outside, it looks very different. They actually built it right in front of the house from the original Psycho on the Universal backlot in LA. Thought that was interesting. Other than that, Rick Baker did the corpse, did Mrs. Bates' corpse in the fruit cellar. Rick Baker came in to give him that prop. And it looks fantastic when they do unveil it, when Lila finds it in the basement. And look, Vince Vaughn does the best he can here. He does give a good performance, but compared to Anthony Perkins, and I've watched all these in a row, so I'm pretty much, I'm watching Anthony Perkins through 4 movies, and I watched this one. And even back then, I watched the original before I went to see the remake. Vince Vaughn, Anthony Perkins was the best Norman Bates. And it was like, well, Vince Vaughn tried, and you can see he's trying, but it's just not as good. This movie overall is just not as good, and it's just pointless, honestly. Like I said, I didn't hate it as much as I did back in '98. But again, you got to ask yourself, what was the point of all this? If you're going to do it's not shot for shot, technically. There is some differences in the way it's handled, but there's a lot of shots ripped right out of Hitchcock's playbook. At the end of the day, this is an okay watch if you're interested in watching it as a curiosity. But honestly, if I'm going to pull out and want to watch Psycho, the original, I'm going to watch the 1960 version. This is one I'll just pull out maybe once in a blue moon just to relive it. But it's not a great film only because you're comparing it to a 1960 classic. At the end of the day, I didn't hate it as much, but at the end of the day, I will give the Psycho 1998 remake a 5.5 out of 10. 5.5 out of 10 for the Psycho remake. Have you ever seen this film? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back with a Psycho franchise ranking video, and then we're going to move on to some other goodies for the Halloween season. But until next time, bye.